Alright, so unless you guys have been living under a rock, you must have seen the new update, and Alice the Wanderer is what everyone's been talking about. This is the free legendary that is currently going on in the game, and I've actually managed to utilize her as much as possible. However, the real question is, how good is she? Can she really be a main? Is she really that amazing of a character? And the answer to that question is, it really depends on what you need. Now, before we get into it, if you guys are new players, if you're just starting the game, I got a link in the description or a QR code on the screen that you can scan. You will get Tagore immediately, you will get Ugo at level 15, you will get a whole bunch of other things. Now, even if you guys created a new account, I would suggest that you create a new one because you will get a whole lot of things. You can also go in here, you can go into the promo codes, you can type in Monkey King, so you will get Sun Wukong as well, because this is what you can do in a new account. You can't do it if you already created one. And then you can also get the free legendary Alice, which is obviously super easy to get. I mean, all you gotta do is go to the phase 1, log in for 7 days, I mean, just open the game for 7 days, and you will get a legendary. However, the real question is, how good is she? And I've actually been using her since I've got her, so after the 7 days since the update. Now, unfortunately, as I'm not really spending money in the game, I don't have a ton of resources. I've also been focusing quite a lot on wrapping up the faction wars, so I don't have a whole ton of resources to spend on one character. And as you guys obviously know, I mean, you can get this very easily to like level 12, but you know, going from level 15 to level 16 is going to be like 1.5 million gold. So yeah, I managed to decently level her up. Unfortunately, I don't have enough to ascend her, so I know this might sound a little ridiculous. I mean, I'm not using the best gear out there. I mean, some of these endgame players are gonna put the best gear on there. They're gonna ascend everything, level everything up if you have the resources, so you can kind of see how much potential she is. But I'm just talking from the perspective of a mid-game player that is obviously, you know, spending a few hundred energy a day. So I've used most of the gear that you actually get from logging in. So one of these legendaries, the Savage gear set, and I would say it actually fits with her. Now, before we get into it, like, who actually is Alice and what does she do? So I have been actually building her as a nuker in the game. This is the masteries that I managed to get, and she has one of these abilities that can be useful, but only in certain circumstances, but she's a pretty good character. A lot of people rate her as an A tier character, so not the best legendary, and other rate her as 4 out of 5, so I would say she's pretty good, and I've actually been using her. Like, my opinion is she's pretty good. So when we look at her skills, she has this A1 that she can use every turn. Unfortunately, I don't have the legendary books, so I haven't updated her. Of course, once you get the best, like, book everything, full masteries, full gear, full ascension, I mean, obviously you're gonna get more out of her, but I just talk about mid-game stuff. So the first ability is to attack one enemy 2 times and places an extra hit if the target has any active skills on cooldown, and almost certainly, unless it is the opening of a game, everyone is going to have some active skill on a cooldown. But interesting enough, each hit has an 80% chance of decreasing the duration of a random buff on the target by 1 turn. This is pretty good because she can attack 2 times, and if he has an active skill on cooldown, it's going to be more, so this can be pretty good. Now, this one can hit pretty hard. The Clockwork Cyclone attacks all enemies. He has a 75% chance of increasing the cooldowns of all enemy skills by 2 turns, so this kind of synchronizes with the first one. Also, he has a 75% chance of decreasing each target's turn meter by 15%. So this not only increases the cooldowns, but it also decreases the target's turn meter, which can be pretty cool, so she has some turn meter reduction. But this skill, in my opinion, is one of the best ones that she currently has. It is a decent unique skill. She attacks one enemy and will ignore 20% of the target's defense. Now, if this target initially is killed, she also attacks the enemy with the lowest HP. So I've used her quite a bit in the faction wars and some campaign stuff, and it's very often that she just kills 2 enemies with 1 attack, which is pretty good. And she also has a passive effect, so whenever this champion attacks, inflicts 3% more damage to each target for each turn remaining on all of their skill cooldowns. The bonus damage is counted individually for each target. She also resets the cooldown on one of the champion's skills each time they kill an enemy, so this obviously synchronizes with this. Now, this is in my opinion, a decent aura. I mean, she increases attack in all battles. I don't actually have any champion right now that is high level that has this aura. I think I don't actually have any champion that has this aura, which can be good, but it's not the most, you know, meta aura out there. I've also managed to get, obviously, the soul, which you can get as well. Now, one of the main reasons you really need to get her, I mean, I'm not saying she's the best legendary in the game, she's pretty good. The best thing about her, though, is that she's free, so you can get her by logging in. But even better, I mean, with this event that is currently going on, I mean, let me just open that up. Yeah, you can get the soul. So this is super expensive. I mean, let me just show you the current Altar of Souls. I mean, how expensive this can be. Actually, just reset, but I had one champion that has level 5 extension, so it's 300 of these, I believe, or 200. Crazy expensive. I mean, it's gonna be a huge grind for you to get like a fully awakened legendary, and you can essentially get that, almost get that with just logging in. So you're gonna have a fully awakened, you're gonna have a legendary awakened, you're gonna get the legendary trinkets, you're gonna get the gear for her. Obviously, I'm not sure if this is the most optimal gear, but yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's going, if you're a free-to-play player, it's not often that you're gonna have a fully awakened legendary. I mean, it would be a pretty big deal. Now, the gear that I currently have on her, and ideally you want to build crit rate for her or crit damage, because she's really a nuker. I mean, her focus is mainly on waves and nuking characters, so this works out decently. The savage gear set that I have, I put crit damage, which is not the ideal set. I know it's not the ideal damage, but I don't have the best, you know, the gear out there. It might be better to put maybe some perception gear, merciless, but it just kind of depends. Crit damage also works decently well if you got the decent enough. I mean, I managed to get the level 5 bits of gear. So essentially, you got Savage, ignores 25% of enemies' defense, which kind of synchronizes with this ability, which it will ignore 25% target's defense, so it's going to be 45% of target's defense, which can be pretty useful for certain types, especially for PvE, but also PvP. She's also a pretty decent PvP champion, but I haven't used her all that much. Now, we'll get into game, I will show you what's currently going on, but I've also managed to equip a Relic, which is not the best, but it's 16% more critical damage, so it's better than having nothing. I managed to get some type from the Chimera. However, in terms of the masteries, unfortunately, I didn't have enough resources to upgrade her fully, but I did manage to go for the nuker build, so I'm almost there. I only need the red ones now, too, which obviously are gonna take a lot more than everything else, but I managed to get decent-ish masteries on her. So, what I've noticed so far is that Alice is actually pretty useful for PvP, but she's not really a boss killer. I mean, she's very good for waves. I managed to use her for the faction wars. She can really help you out in waves, but it really depends on the team that you have, because on her own, she's not really that amazing. It kind of depends on how you build her. For example, I've got another A-tier legendary that most people rate him as, which is Tribune Heraclitus. He's currently really my main legendary, and I do feel like he's more useful than her because he's also a nuker, but he has a bit more abilities. Like, he has this ability that can resurrect others, so this can just do so much, especially when you combine it with undead characters. I mean, he can kill one, resurrect a team, and yeah, he can do a lot more with just this. I mean, Alice can be pretty squishy. If you build her up decently, she can do good damage, but it really kind of depends. So, luckily, right now, we got the faction wars currently going on. I've managed to build a decent-ish team, so let me just open stage 10. I've got a decent-ish team for, unfortunately, this is the army girl I've built for the Scarab King. Right, so let me show you Alice here. She doesn't have much speed. Unfortunately, I didn't really go for speed, which is the critical thing you need to do if you build her for PvP, but I've been building her for PvE. So let's use her mid ability. I mean, actually, let's not do that yet because we're gonna save it for the next wave, but let me just show you this one, the Queen Slayer. So she's gonna attack this guy, and she's gonna kill the other one. Now, you can actually build this with the masteries. I believe I managed to get a reduction, a cooldown, or some sort of an ability that synchronizes with that as well for each of these rounds. Alright, so the Armiger, the useless, relatively useless Armiger, synchronizes decently with Deacon. Unfortunately, I've managed to mainly build up Deacon. I managed to book him, but unfortunately, he's not that useful because he's really a support character. I mean, you can't really use him to solo this. So let me show you this ability. Now, keep in mind, I've only got level 13, 14 gear, so she's not gonna do insane damage. But yeah, you'll see it's pretty good. I mean, it increases turn meter, increases cooldowns, kills, does quite a decent amount of damage. And I've also got this level 40 healer character that's not gonna be incredibly useful. Try to finish this up. Let me show you this level 1 ability. So attacks one enemy 2 times. These guys very likely have abilities on cooldown. So I think she might even hit him 3 times, but it could have been 2 because there's not much else. She had a very low HP. So let's go further into this. Yeah, I really should have built a bit more speed on Alice. As I said, I mean, if you're gonna use her for PvP, I would really recommend building up speed. Like, you really want speed. Alright, so unkillable, thank you guys. Okay, let's wrap this up. Alright, so I might be able to get the reduction. No. Yeah, managed to kill this one. Pretty good damage. I mean, as I said, for a Faction Wars team, she's gonna be pretty useful. Like, you have some Faction Wars teams that are just support. It takes like forever to actually do things. Like, you got a ton of survivability, but it's bad. And I just noticed that this character dies, so I'm not gonna get a 3-star on this. As you have seen, I mean, this is Alice in Faction Wars. If you level her up and you combine her with some decent support characters, you can really get quite far away. I mean, she's really good for waves. She's especially good for PvE. Now, she's also a pretty good PvP character. That I haven't used her. A lot of people are using her now that they managed to build her up because you can get an Awakened Legendary with her. She can be a pretty good nuker, but you always gotta combine her with another character because you're not gonna do much. And also, if you're going for PvP, just focus on speed. Like, my speed is absolutely garbage that I've currently built right now, which doesn't really matter because I mainly built her for Faction War stuff, or maybe later for Doom Tower, although I haven't found much use in terms of the bosses. Only a few bosses where she's really good at. But yeah, if you're gonna build her for PP, just go for speed. You can do quite a bit. I mean, it can help her, especially if you got good gear. She can really help you a lot. Now, if you guys are new to the game, I would suggest you click the link in the description. You will get Tagore immediately. You will get Ugo at level 15. You can, if you're just started playing but you haven't gone far away, you can create a new account. And then you can also use my code, so you will get 2 epics. You can also go into the promo codes here, so you can enter promo code, go in with Monkey King, which is currently one of the best promo codes in the game. And you can also get Alice right now. It's not gonna last forever, so I would urge you to get here because she might not be the best legendary game. She's not gonna solo bosses or just, you know, solo arena, but you're gonna get an A-tier legendary, a pretty good nuker. You're gonna be able to awaken her. You will get essentially free gear, mostly free gear, which is not really something you can get, especially as a free-to-play player. So I would suggest that you check out Alice, use her. Now, if you want to main her, that really depends on what you currently got and what you need. But thank you for watching. Check out my link in the description or the QR code, and see you in the next video.